Welcome to another Precision how-to video. My name is Martin, and today we're introducing the ReelSm for hardened fiber optic connector Universal Drops, or HFOC Uni Drops for short, and we'll show you how to use it. Now, the idea of the ReelSm was born because of the challenges installers face in the field when deploying this type of loose coils, as they need to lay up the coil on the ground, or figure-eighted, as is also commonly known, or they need to find ways to pay off the cable in the pit, which not always work, or if the cable gets tangled, you can potentially damage the cable. Now, important to mention, the ReelSm is not packaging, but a tool that, with its clever design, you can separate both flanges, place the coil on the reel, close it, and you're good to go to start unrolling your cable. Before we start with our process, I'm just going to mention the tools that you need to use the reel and the coil. And these are some cable ties, hook and loops, work gloves for safety, side cutters, your preferred cable stand, the drop cable you will be deploying, and obviously the ReelSm. All right, now to start off with our process, we're gonna separate both flanges by pressing on these tabs with our index fingers, pressing inwards, downwards, and you'll see that there's some holes on the flange that you can introduce your finger to lift it, and introduce your fingers in this flange as well, and just separate them. You'll see that both flanges have different designs, and this one has a bigger barrel. This is the one that we'll be working with, and to start the process, we just locate the slots here and here, and we want to align the HFO connector. Once we put it on, we want to align the HFO connector to these slots before closing the flange. So as mentioned, HFO connector to the slots, and we push it down nicely. The next step is we grab our other flange, and you'll see that this one's the one that has the tabs. In this one, you'll locate the two holes where these two tabs will lock in, and as well you see grooves here and ribs in the inside of the barrel, which will ease the alignment of both flanges to lock in position. You can rotate a little bit, and you push down, and there you have it. We have our coil in a ReelSm, and we're ready to move on to the next steps. As you can see, we now have our reel and cable on our cable stand. This is the cable stand that we recommend, but you can use your preferred cable stand. To finish setting up the drop cable in the reel, we just simply need to cut the cable tie that's holding the connector to the ring and the bulk of the cable. Then we release the connector, and we need to pass the connector through this wide opening so that we can attach it in this position here. So as you can see, I already have a hook and loop fastener in the reel. We recommend this over the cable ties, as they're more sustainable and easier to use. When you're attaching the connector in this position, it's important that you attach it from the coupling nut and not the boot, as you can damage the connector if you're holding it from the boot. Once the connector is in position, we can move on to the next step, which is cutting the rest of the cable ties, and then we'll start unrolling the cable. Before doing this, it's important to mention that none of the cable ties should be cut before this step, because it can change the ID of the cable coil and then make it difficult to place in the reel. Once all the cable ties are cut, we're ready to start with our installation. It's recommended though to remove all the cable ties before starting. And we're good to go to start unrolling. And there you have it. That's the ReelSm for Prysmian HFOC unit drops. Very intuitive design, easy to use, and will make your job easier. If you're interested, please feel free to reach out our sales team. We'll leave the information down below. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.